Is that time again in the North Bay when craft beer lovers camp out in Santa Rosa for a taste of a cult favorite.
Yeah, Pliny the Younger from Russian River Brewing goes on sale tomorrow for a limited time.
But it didn't arrive there without a little bit of drama. Max Darrow tells us about the scare that threatened the 20th anniversary batch.
Each bottle that makes its way down this conveyor belt and gets stamped with this label will tell the story of Pliny the Younger. And this year's brew has quite the story.
This is a big moment.
Which is why Natalie Chilurzo smiled as she watched the bottling process unfold. Her team at the Russian River Brewing Company spends a ton of time preparing for the 2-week exclusive release of the Triple IPA. And there was a moment in January where disaster almost struck.
We did have a power outage during January, during the storms.
It lasted for a few days. While it didn't affect the beer going into these bottles,
we had just packaged our Pliny the Younger for distribution, so we had a warehouse cold box full of draft Pliny the Younger, and we were definitely stressing out about that.
Luckily, for Pliny's sake, Chilurzo says they were able to get a generator, and they installed the switchgear as well.
Had we not been able to get that generator, we could have lost some Younger.
That would have been a big disappointment for Pliny enthusiasts and for Russian River's bottom line.
Oh yeah.
Alec Miller says people camp out to get their hands on this beer.
A lot of times I'll close here the night before, and I'll be closing up here at 10 o'clock, and there's already people in line the next day waiting to camp out. I've had people from India before, people from Australia, New Zealand.
Over the 2-week period, they expect to see
anywhere from about 12 to 14,000. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of people.
For perspective, that's about half the population of the entire town of Windsor. As the bottles filled up, Chilurzo was busy tidying up this handout for guests with the information and story behind the beer. The label shows Mount Vesuvius erupting hops in bottles over the Russian River Brewing Company, a nod to the Roman history behind the character whose namesake the beer comes from.
So he was a well-respected author.
What started as a creative way to drum up some much-needed business 20 years ago has turned into an integral part of Russian River Brewing's story, one Chilurzo is quite proud of.
You know, it's a really big year for us, and the beer tastes amazing, so really happy about that.
And one that seems to be able to weather whatever comes its way.